Welcome to today's podcast. My name is Toby Ashende, the founder of Digital Marketing Skills Institute. Today I have with me a very good friend, Ken. Ken has been running Facebook ads and is a specialist in that and has achieved a lot of results about what we're going to talk about today. One of the interesting things that he's been able to do is been able to reduce like advert costs to like 0.00000000001 right, dollars, and that's a lot. It's something on its own, and so he's going to be sharing with us how he gets that kind of ad cost. And if you don't know what that means, it's basically that if you have a $10 and you get that kind of 0.00001, then with $10 you probably could be able to drive about 10,000 traffic to your website, as regards to having like a cost of 0.01 or 0.02 or things like that would probably be able to give you probably about 100 or 200 traffic to your website. So I'll let Ken give himself a proper introduction.
Okay, thank you so much, Toby, for having me. My name is Ken Ndubisi. I'm the head of operations at CCY Media. So it's basically a Facebook consulting agency. Just like Toby rightly said, I'm a specialist when it comes to Facebook ads. So I help businesses and brands to actually get more results, more leads, more sales for their products or services using Facebook and Instagram ads as well.
So one of the things that really got my interest is I've been following you for a while, and it's the fact that I see majority of your results and I see you talk about it. And one of the things that interests me the most is, why do you specialize in Facebook?
Okay, so I'm gonna give a bit of a backstory right now to why I actually chose Facebook, because this is a question I get a lot of times. So I noticed, first of all, I'm going to go like way back in school. So I actually studied architecture at the University of Nigeria, and so I've always been a lover of tech. I've been a lover of marketing and anything that had to do with digital. But my parents, they always wanted me to like just go to school, and so I decided to just go ahead with the flow, and I went ahead to study architecture. But I made up my mind that once I left school, I was going to go into the whole digital marketing of a thing. So immediately I left school, I decided to really focus on it. And then after reading a lot of marketing books, because I'm a very big reader, like I love reading books, I discovered something that they always talk about in most of those books, is that whenever you're coming into a market and you want to like stamp your foot and make an impression, you have to be known for something. So I was like, so I was like, what's the one thing that people are not really covering a lot in detail right now, and I could make like a strong statement, a strong impression. And one of those things that actually came to mind was Facebook ads, among a lot of other things, because I saw a lot of people, they were like preaching, you have to run ads, you have to, know how to do Facebook ads. But few people were actually going in depth into it, like really explaining what you needed to do to actually get results. Yeah, exactly. So once you ask them, they just tell you to go to YouTube, or just go and take one basic course, and no one was like really going deep into it. So I figured, what, this is what I'm going to focus in, and that's how I decided to focus on Facebook ads. Now, part of my journey when I started out, I knew that if I wanted to get really good at it, I could not just focus on just taking courses. I had to like get into the trenches and learn how to do it. So I spent a little of my scholarship money, getting into different businesses. So I got into network marketing, other businesses as well, just selling products, and basically using that, that money from my scholarship to actually learn how to run the ads as well. So that was basically how I got started with Facebook ads in general.
Interesting. I'm just learning that about you. So you were an architect that turned digital marketer,
yes.
Right? And well, one of the things that you said that kind of caught my interest is the fact that the importance of reading, that you read a lot, and that's very good. So I guess before you finish, you probably will share some of the books you read.
Okay.
And so that some of us can go and take it. I personally, I don't read books, but I like to read like blog posts and short things and listen to podcasts and things like that.
Okay.
But which is very
they're all good.
Which is very good.
Yes.
So the other thing that I got from what you said is you really got your hand dirty So
Yes.
at which point did you start getting this very, very interesting result of getting 0.001 per click or per engagement on your ads? Because
Yes.
that's quite very interesting. I mean, we've done something similar before. We've done it a couple of times, to be honest, but you seem to have been able to achieve that in a very consistent manner. So you want to share with us some?
Yes, so part of the things that actually led me into getting those kind of results was basically when you stay long in a certain market, you understand, you begin to learn how the market works and everything, and it's no different when it comes to Facebook. Okay, if you run ads for a while and you're consistent with it, you begin to understand the landscape. You understand basically what Facebook needs and what they require of you to be able to get those kind of results. So on a very basic level, first of all, talking about Facebook ads in general, if you give the platform what it loves or what it decides that the users love, the platform is going to favor you very well by putting your content out there, thereby reducing your cost and making sure that your ads are seen by a lot of other people. So that was what I understood, and then continuous experimentation with the platform. It doesn't come cheap, but learning that consistency is key. It really helps you to, when you get a result, you know that actually you can do better, and reading case studies of other people that have done better, you know that yes, that even if you've gotten a certain figure, that there's still another step that you can take to actually make those results better.
Interesting.
Yes.
I'm sure when you talked about experimenting, it must have not come cheap, because us personally, we've lost over $2,000 running Facebook ads that were unfruitful until we figured it out at the end of the day, and it's basically based on experimenting different things on,
Yeah.
on what they call it on Facebook. Um, Basically, if you, in terms of what would you say is like the most important part of what was most important in terms of running Facebook ads or marketing on Facebook? What would you say is like the most important thing that one should really consider when it comes to marketing on Facebook?
I think the most important thing of all is learning how the platform works. Okay, so I always say this, yeah, that you need to learn, because schools or videos or trainings, they can just teach you like the basic level. Okay, they just teach you when it comes to ads, you create your campaign, your ad sets, and your ad. But if you don't understand how to make those three work seamlessly together, your results are not going to be outstanding. Now, one of the things I noticed is that some people are actually, again, this is a very important point, some people are actually scared of actually making that commitment. Okay, that commitment. It was a bit hard for me when I started out, but like I said, I started experimenting with some money I gathered from scholarship, which was not easy. In case I make it look easy, but it wasn't easy deciding that this money that I would have spent doing something else, that I just decided to blow it learning and experimenting with Facebook ads, something I wasn't sure. So people should learn, to take that first dip, that first step of confidence. It really, really helps, because no matter of training is going to take away the action steps if you don't put it into action.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, how do you make your ad so relevant to your potential customer or your potential buyer, and how do you do all those things so people don't understand all those parts? And that's probably what you're solving for a lot of companies today. Earlier on when we were talking, you said one of the things you do is you work with businesses. They give you access to their Facebook. You analyze what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. You help them understand the algorithms of what they call it of Facebook, which I think it's quite genius and quite interesting of a service that you're offering. So what I looked at is, so when it comes to advertising on Facebook, right? We talk about relevancy, like relevancy. So I've seen ads or we've even experienced ads that have relevancy of about $8. Sorry, relevancy of about 8,
yeah.
right? Because it's graded between 0 and 10,
yeah.
right? We've had relevancy of about 8 and over 9, but the cost still goes a lot higher. So what would you say the targeting also has an effect in pricing, or what exactly? And would you also advise a business to target maybe like over 200,000 or 2 million audience, for example, or will you advise them to try to narrow down their audience.
Okay, so I think we're not getting into the strategy aspect of running ads, because that's another thing that is really important. You have to understand that there's different strategies for different niches, for different industries, okay? The strategy you use for running ads for maybe say an oil company would be very much different from the one you use for like a dry cleaning service, all right? Now, that's the first thing, understanding the strategy, okay? So picking out the right strategy to actually use for the niche that you are in is so important. The next thing you want to consider is what metrics are you really looking at? Like, what metrics are you really considering, okay? I get people sometimes they want to focus on the CPE, that's the cost per engagement. Some are focusing on the cost per click. Some are focusing on the relevancy score, the relevance score. But I tell them, look, guys, if this ad you're running is breaking even, like, why should I even bother you? Okay, if you're making enough money from the ads to cover all your costs, you know, that is what matters to you. So you have to decide what's more important to you. I get some people, you know, they're not making money from their ads at all, and they're just like sending me screenshots. I'm getting a relevance score of 10. I'm like, the relevance score of 10, is that what's going to put food on your table? You understand? So you have to decide what results actually matter to you. When you understand that it's the result that you're driving the ads for that actually matter, all the other things just become irrelevant.
Okay, so what you're trying to say is that relevancy, reducing your costs, yes, it's important, but at the end of the day, what's more important is your goal.
Exactly.
You're looking to make sales and things like that.
Exactly.
And how are you measuring that to ensure that the ad is working effectively? Funny enough, we had an experience similarly. We ran an ad, and immediately we ran the ad. About a day after, the ad was like about 26 cents per click, and I was like, oh my god, this is whatever, let's find a way to reduce it. So I paused the ad, and surprisingly, right, that same day someone called in and said, oh, I saw the ad and I'm interested, and the person made payment to attend one of our trainings. And I was like, interesting. So what that basically means is that, I mean, we didn't even spend up to $10. You get what I'm saying? And we got like one person to run the ad, and already I was about to give up and pause the ad. And
okay, so that's another thing I really want to say. Some people, whenever they run ads, like, they're very quick to like cut short the ads when the ad hasn't even optimized. You have to understand, it's a process, okay? The algorithm takes time to actually work. So you can't like run an ad and then under 24 hours you start looking at the ad. I guess some people sometimes they run ads and they start calling me that, you know, in a 12-hour interval that they've not seen anything on the ad. I tell them, just, the ad hasn't even reached 24 hours yet, which is like the least optimization period, and you're already bored. Just leave it, go drink coffee or do something else, all right? don't even look at the don't even look at it.
Don't look at
exactly.
Don't
Don't give yourself high BP. You get? So people need to understand that, like I said, it all boils down to understanding the algorithm. If you understand that for a certain period of time there's a certain score that if you get, it shows that you're running a good ad. Like sometimes I tell people, again, it depends on the industry, but if you run an ad and like in after 24 to 48 hours you are getting like 0.2 or 0.4, if you look at it and you tally it with the industry average, you may decide that this is not doing as well
as it should be.
Exactly, and then you can now decide to cut it. And then this is where other strategies now come in. You can now decide to start breaking down into different audiences, split testing audiences. You have started building custom audiences by now, using lookalike audiences. So it all boils down to the whole strategy, right? Understanding the algorithm really makes a lot of difference.
So basically, it has to do with your goal, your return on investment,
Exactly.
your return on ad spend.
Very important.
You need to measure, is this ad actually driving me the return on investment and the rest of it. But now it becomes a lot difficult, because also while you were talking, you said that you can run an ad and in 24 hours or 48 hours you go and check it, you're saying, oh, I'm not yet getting sales and all those things like that. So how do you now strike the balance? Because a lot of people assume that when everybody talks about the whole Facebook ads, oh, I ran an ad and I sold 2 million in 2 days, in 3 days, in 4 days, and everybody makes it look like it's more of like a miracle platform that one can just go to and the rest of it. So if I run an ad today, right, how patient should I wait before I can get results? Or what really accounts to if I'm going to get results from the campaign? So I'm running a campaign today, I want to make sales, I'm selling a bag, for example, and I start running the ad, and 24 hours down the clock, I realize I have a relevancy of about 8, for example, which means that the ad seems to be getting to the right set of people, right? But I'm not making sales. So what exactly what advice can you give, or what do you think could happen in that kind of situation?
Okay. So I'm going to break down this answer. First of all, to the people that focus on other people saying I made 2 million on an ad or I made 1 million. You have to understand that some of all this money that is being quoted, sometimes it's not all profit. You understand? Someone may spend about 700,000 naira to get 1 million, and then he'll say I made 1 million, but forgetting that the real profit behind that is just 300,000, right? And then another person may be spending 100,000 to make that 1 million. That's the person that you want to be listening to.
So before you continue, so what you're trying to say that people celebrate the wins, but they don't celebrate the journey to the win.
Yes,
so
exactly.
They try to go out and say, oh, I made X amount of money. I remember reading an article the other day, and the guy said, well, I was able to generate 100,000 leads in 1 week.
Yeah.
And then just to really dig deep, and then discover that the guy spent almost $90,000 to run the ad.
You can imagine.
to run the advert. So
yeah. So
it's
you have to be very careful who you listen to, and that's why I always recommend that people listen to people like you that are teaching this stuff and actually showing people how to actually go about doing these things the right way and getting the maximum amount of results. Now, speaking about you running an ad for a product, deciding when it is good to actually cut the ad or continue it, there's something called a break-even point. Okay.
Alright.
Now, the break-even point is basically where you look at your product, you remove the cost of maybe production or cost of acquiring the product, and then you look at your profit margin. Now, what I advise first-time users of the platform is you don't cut your ad until you spend up to your break-even point. So say for example, your profit on a particular product is 5,000 naira, okay? And you're running an ad. It doesn't make sense to cut that ad till you have spent up to 5,000 naira on that particular ad set. So that way, if you get only one sale from that ad set, you would know that you have broken even, okay? So that is the point where you decide to cut the ad set. So if you've created multiple ad sets for a particular product, for a particular brand that you're advertising for, and you notice that at your break-even point, you've not made any profit, you've not made any sale or anything, that's the right time for you to actually cut the ad, go into the ad and start looking at it, yes, and notice where you've actually made mistakes. And if you've actually learned from an expert, if you've actually followed the right process, it's not going to be very hard for you to actually find out where you are making the mistakes, exactly, and for you to correct it.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, first thing first, I tell people is you need to get the right assistant.
Yes.
Right? Because at the end of the day, people like us, people like me, we've lost quite a lot of money running Facebook ads. We've spent quite a lot of money also running ads and see it generate results as well. And as a result of that, it's valuable to get proper advice from the right set of people. The psychology behind running some of these ads is the fact that most times you don't buy from people you don't know. Alright, so one of the things that is there that really accounts to the fact that you run ads and you don't get conversions on time and you have to be patient or even look at your strategy in the first place is that majority of the ads you run, you're showing it to first-time people that just get to know you for the very, very first time.
Yes.
And it's very, very difficult for you to buy for people that you don't trust. It's very difficult for you to buy from people you don't know. So for example, I like to use this a lot, and I say if some 20-something-year-old dude walks up to you and tells you that you should come and buy an iPhone 6 for 15,000 naira, what would you do? You probably will be asking yourself, is this stolen? Am I sure it's going to work? And things like that, right?
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that that's how people see your product. So they see your advert on Facebook, they're like, oh my God, who is this guy that is selling this? Everybody seems to be selling the same product. I'm like, so at the end of the day, how am I so sure that this is the right person to buy from and things like that? So as a result of that, your marketing should be more of like a journey. You should have like a funnel where you actually build relationship with people and then get them to familiarize themselves with you as a brand and with your product. Then your result starts coming, and that's one of the reasons why you don't just run traffic ads or you don't just run acquisition ads. You try to engage with marketing ads or retargeting ads so that people that have seen your ads before, they need to see it all over again. And because one of the things that I talk about a lot when I do podcasts and things like this, is the need to engage people. Because the fact is that a lot of people focus too much on traffic and conversion and they forget about engage. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And the need to engage people cannot be overemphasized, because even before sales are made, it takes about seven engagements. It takes about 7 engagement before an actual sales is made. So in the first place, if you're not engaging people, you cannot make that sale, right? And so it's very, very important that process of running ads, letting people see your ads for the first time. You can't get immediate conversions majority of the time. Yeah, you will make a couple of sales, but your maximum amount of sales is going to come from when you retarget people that have engaged with your initial ads and then come back to the platform and then seen the ad and then the what they call it, the buy from the advert. So one of the things I really want to know, right, is the fact that I want to know exactly how you run your campaigns. I want to know the steps, your thinking process. I want to know it step by step. So can you give us the answer in like step 1, this is what you do, step 2, this is what you do, step 3, this is what you do. Do you understand? So I can use it in my yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna break it down. So before I run any ads, first of all, when a client comes to me and tells me they want to do this, we first of all start off with drawing up the strategy, okay? And then topmost on that strategy is deciding who our target audience is, okay? So we first of all map out, like it's a very manual thing. We don't even use computers. We basically use our hands and, write out everything and draw it out, okay?
Really?
So,
you call it digital.
Yeah.
I using Byron and paper.
Yes.
Anyway,
yeah, I
do understand.
Yes, so I like to draw it out, because architecture background and everything. I like to make them see how the whole thing plays out. Okay, so first of all, look at the audience research, and then we decide who our target audience is. We map it out like very, very to the tiniest of details, and then we begin to use like audience research tools online. We start with like tools like the Facebook Audience Insights tool. Other tools online that we actually use to actually map out who our audience is on Facebook, where they are, and how we can actually reach out to them. Because you have to understand, most of the audiences that you are looking for right now, the landscape of Facebook is gradually shifting into communities. So most of the people that are actually going to be looking for, they're actually clustered up in certain communities.
Interesting.
Yes, so part of your audience research is finding out these communities and how to actually engage with them and draw people out of them, and then do some advanced research to discover these communities and discover how to get those people out of them and for them to actually see your ads.
So can I just pause you there? So what you're saying is that the first step is you define who your customer is,
yes,
right? And in defining who your customer is, you mentioned something about the fact that majority of the audience are already in one group or the other, one community or the other on Facebook, right?
Yes.
You also mentioned the fact that there's Facebook Audience Insights, right?
Yes.
Which I believe a lot of people that run Facebook ads, they jump that step.
Yes.
They don't do their research. And so what I'm getting from what you're saying right now is that a very simple strategy to use is to pick like a group, for example, where you see a lot of your kind of markets are, right? And then do like a Facebook insight to understand the kind of characteristics that people in those groups have,
yes,
right? And then use that as part of your targeting options on Facebook.
Exactly.
That's pretty genius.
Exactly. So after we've done that, by now we've gotten a pretty good idea of who our audience is. Now we basically start drawing out the ad content, okay, the creative, what we're going to use to actually capture these people. It's very important because if we've decided that our demographic are people in the north or people in the east, it really helps us to like create the right kind of message to actually draw them out. Okay, so after we've done that, so we've done the audience now, we've created the first set of creatives, then we're coming basically into the ad manager itself to begin setting up the campaign. So I've given you the first step, the audience research itself, then the creative, then we go into the campaign level, and then we choose the appropriate campaign for the objective that we're trying to create. So I like what you said earlier about not just jumping into traffic and conversions. Okay, you have to first of all outline that strategy. Okay, get people engaged with your content, either with the engagement objective or the reach or you know, any of those other objectives that helps us to get our message out across to these people before we start asking them for anything. So these are the kind of campaigns that we first of all run to get an initial feel of our audience. Okay, I forgot to say something about the ad creative. One of the most used ad creative that we normally make use of is video. Okay, because video actually gives you the option to actually create custom audiences. So you can create custom audiences from people that have watched your videos for a particular duration of time. So it's really powerful. It really helps us. It really helps again in lowering our ad costs. We've noticed this over a period of certain campaigns. So we've gotten the videos ready. Now we've chosen the actual campaigns to actually use. I use what's called campaign combinations. Okay, so we can be running an engagement ad and then create audiences for that from that engagement ad, and then start running a conversion ad, so that the people that are being gotten from the engagement ad are immediately being transferred to the conversion campaign. So everything just works seamlessly. All right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that basically solves what I mentioned earlier on. So you first of all run like an engagement ad, and then you retarget people that have engaged with that ad.
Exactly.
So that you drive that engagement that results into the actual conversion.
Exactly.
That's pretty
exactly.
cool.
Exactly. And we do it like we just give a little gap, because we know that people's time span on people's attention span these days is very short on social media. So we just make it like a very small gap, so that as you're seeing the first content, you're seeing the second one, and everything is following each other, right? And then when it comes into the ad set level, the ad set is one place that actually scares a lot of people, because it's quite complex in there. Okay, you have to choose the audience, the placement, the budget, the interest. Everything goes into the ad set level. Okay, so in the ad set, we basically break down our audience the way we've selected them. We break them down into different ad sets. Okay, so we don't mix ad sets together. It's very important to do this. It's a very big mistake I see advertisers make. They compile all the whole interest in this world into one ad set. It's very hard for you to know where your results are coming from if you do it like that. Okay, but if you break down your interest into different ad sets, okay, it's very easy for you to know which of the ad sets is actually converting, and then you know which ones to actually kill off. So that's a very powerful thing that we do when we come into the ad set level. We tend to break down our audiences into as many ad sets as possible, so that we can find out which of the ad sets are converting immediately, and then know which ones to scale and which ones to kill. So that's basically the whole process I take.
So you do a lot of experience with the ad sets.
Exactly.
Well, it's not too far from what we do. What we do majority of the time is we either run a direct traffic or landing page views, right?
Okay.
And then we retarget people that have either engaged without advert or have landed on the website with testimonials or different other engagement to just move them to the next level.
Yeah.
And then that's it. One of the things that we do in our digital marketing course is that we train people on how to define what we call customer avatar, right?
Yes.
And in defining the customer avatar, there's a particular part there that actually allows you to be able to divide like each component into different ad sets. So for example, you're thinking about, okay, so what does this particular customer listen to? What newspaper does he watch? That's a different asset on its own.
Yes.
Where does he visit a lot? What event does he like to attend? That's a different asset on its own. And then you try those assets and see which one itself is actually attracting the most set of conversions and things like that. One of the other things also that you said also in terms of the creative is videos are actually very, very good.
Yes.
They help you to reduce your cost as well. So if reducing your cost matters a lot to you, then Facebook video ads also does a lot of good job there.
Yes.
So we use a lot of video ads as well for us as well. But one thing also is that we teach our students on hard copies like AIDA, hard copy, that's the attract, interest, desire, and action.
Yes.
And everything. So
another very powerful thing about, sorry to cut you, another very powerful thing about video, it also comes back to understanding the platform. Now you see, most of the owners of this platform, okay, they are very smart people, okay, and they have a way of actually encouraging people that take action on what they are pushing for. So you see, with the introduction of video content on platforms like IG, they are increasing the amount of time they can actually post videos. There's IGTV now, so they are basically telling you that they want you to move into video. Yes. So another thing I learned in the market is that if you want to really win the market, you have to learn to flow with these guys. Okay, you can't swim against the tide and expect to be successful. So if they're giving you pointers that video is actually working, they're doing it for a reason, because the platform actually favors people who follow what they
what
are
they're
saying.
trying to do. Because I
Exactly.
mean that goes to what you said earlier, which is understanding the algorithm, understanding how
Exactly.
those platforms work,
Yes.
and things like that. I mean, so a very simple explanation to why one of the reasons why video works a lot is because marketing also requires a bit of intimacy.
Yes.
In the sense that people want to feel like they know the brand, they know who is behind the brand, they
Yes.
know what's going on under the brand, they know the back end of the brand, they know an every day of the brand, right? And video kind of gives you that experience. So doing like little things like just doing a video of what you do, how you do it, and things like that. I mean, I always say this two testimonials almost anywhere I talk to, which is we have one of our students that did like a video of our product, our shoes, and everything, and she ran an ad. Within a few days, she was able to get about what they call it. She was the shoe is sold for 16,000. She sold about 20 of those shoes,
Wow.
right, like that. And it was just the secret to it was just the fact that it was real.
Yes.
Do you understand? And we had somebody else also that I think I course long time ago, and he sells wallpaper, and in the past he used to take stock pictures of wallpapers and all those things. So, but after the course, he decided to go and take like a video of his staff working and fixing the wallpaper and things like that. He uploaded it. Also was able to target the right set of people this time around. So he went for architects and people that would most likely be needing wallpaper in the nearest future. And within a few days, he was able to get like a client that bought what they call a wallpaper worth about 3 million naira from him. So it just goes to you just saying that video marketing works a lot. But the secret of video also is also having a bit of natural, a bit of self, a bit of intimacy.
Yeah.
A bit of making people feel like they're closer to you and
exactly.
they kind of know how you do things. And
exactly.
I think that in itself changed the stuff. And Gary Vee does that a lot
yes.
in his what they call in his marketing. It kind of so people feel like this. Another thing that is quite interesting is that if you look at people like Gary Vee, what he does is basically he makes people intimate with
like
him by showing his back end, talking, giving advices and doing all those things. But he uses that to sell his wine club and different things.
Other businesses.
So it's quite interesting. So what that means is that sometimes you don't just have to promote your business directly. You could try to attract people with different means. So for example, you sell what they call it, women products or baby products.
Yeah.
Attract women. You know, come up with a group on Facebook or Mompreneur or whatever it is, and then have like a group of women talking about Mompreneur. One of our past students actually started that as well. And what they call it, and I mean, she's been able to grow like a community of mothers, entrepreneurs, and different things like that. And she's selling. The funny thing is that they're using it to sell branding products.
Oh.
So she's doing branding for mothers that are entrepreneurs and things like that. So it's quite an interesting thing. So it's not just you trying to sell your product. You could build an audience that actually allows you to be intimate with your audience. I mean, one of our students, Mompreneur, which I mentioned earlier on, what they call it, she built a community of like mothers that are entrepreneurs and things like that, and she uses it to sell branding products and things like that. So I mean, one of the things I try to let people know is you can build like a community of people. You get what I'm saying? Not necessarily people that directly want to buy your product, but there's people that if you are able to make an influence in them, you will be able to sell your products, right?
Yes.
So if you build a community of, for example, you sell baby products, build a community of mothers, it's easy for you to influence that audience to buy your product after you've made an impact on them. So, and that goes to the fact of in marketing, you have to give value, you have to build an audience, build your own tribe, give them a lot of value, and then you have influence over them, and then you can sell to them.
Yes.
And what actually takes to build an influence, you get what I'm saying, is there's so many ways to build an influence, but one of the strongest way or the easiest way to build an influence is to get a group of people that are willing to listen to you almost every single day.
Exactly.
Right? And then once they are listening to you every single day, they're practically giving you their decision making, they're handing over their decision making to you. Then you start having influence over them, and you can start telling them to buy your products, and they would start evangelizing you, buying your products and things like that. And I mean, so many examples like that. Talking about Facebook group, right? So we'll talk about Facebook group, and we're going to round it up now.
Okay.
is you have a Facebook group, and I see a lot of engagement going on your Facebook group. I mean, sometimes I feel jealous because I don't have one, right? But what they call it? One of the things that also has happened or I've seen is that there's one of our students. What they call it? She has a Facebook group for weight loss Facebook group, and she has over 50,000 Facebook group members. Now she got those 50,000 Facebook group members before she came for her training, right? Wow. She didn't know how to monetize it, so okay. She came to come and learn how to monetize it. Now what was more interesting was that little after she left her training, she was able to get an additional 20,000 Facebook group members from some of the things she learned, right?
Wow.
And not just that, so she told me a recent report, right? She sold from the members, she was able to generate like over 200 and something sales. Now I don't know if she made like, because obviously not every sale is actually profit margins, yeah. Right? But she was able to have like over 256 transactions of products from the group. So talking about that, like what's the power of Facebook group?
Yeah. So yeah, groups are really powerful. Groups are, like I said earlier, about the whole landscape of Facebook. Now, you know, the Facebook that most of us signed up to back in 2006, 2007 is not the same Facebook of today, okay? Many things have changed, and talking about the landscape of Facebook shifting, like I said earlier, the landscape is shifting into that of communities. So more people are joining communities, more people are moving together in communities. That's why Facebook groups are so powerful. So Facebook groups have a lot of advantages. A very big advantage of Facebook groups over some other platforms right now is that on Facebook groups, when you make a post, okay, people get the notification, all right? It doesn't happen on pages anymore. It doesn't happen when you like update your status, except people who are following you directly. There's no way for them to actually get that. You can't even do it on Instagram as well, because for people to even get notifications that you've posted, they have to go and click on a button that says turn on post notifications for them to actually do that. And then, you know, there's no group. So Facebook has that ability for you to actually gather a lot of people and make sure that once you put out a post, people see it instantly, okay? They get a notification. People just click on it.
Can I put, how many Facebook group members do you have?
Yeah, okay, so currently my group we're at about 6,000 plus.
6,000 plus. So what you're saying is that every time you push out a content, those 6,000 people see your post.
Exactly. So it's really powerful, especially for the group owner, because it doesn't work for everybody in the group, okay? The person with the highest leverage is always the group owner, okay? The group owner has a very high leverage in that group, because because once you post, people get notified. It shows up on their notifications tab. It shows up in your own drop-down notifications bar. So people just get notified instantly that you've made a post, and so it's very easy for you to actually communicate with people. And coming back to the rewarding aspect, Facebook actually rewards you if it notices that there is like a sizable amount of engagement going on in your group. People will be able to find your group naturally through the recommended groups tab. People will naturally find your group. Facebook just rewards you. So yeah, it's just like the way SEO works, but now it's on Facebook. So that's why groups are super powerful. And I would advise anybody that's really looking to build communities to actually start building a group. Like you said earlier, there's nothing as important as people actually seeing you constantly and being able to relate with you. I know a number of people that have actually grown from just doing that, just by appearing in people's faces, okay? People now feel like they know them. People don't know you. They've not been in your house. They don't know anything about you, but they just feel like, you know, like they know you better because they've seen you constantly. Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. So that takes me to saying that, I mean, people don't normally buy the best product. They kind of buy products that are staring them in their face.
Exactly.
So the product they see more often is what they go for.
Of course.
I know exactly the best product. So that's one of the reasons why being being able to actively market your brand, it's very important for any business owner, and that makes a lot of sense. One of the things I like about Facebook group, right, and that's one of the reasons I'm a bit jealous about you right now, is that with Facebook groups, you could do Facebook Live inside for the group members, and automatically has a lot of tractions because all the group members get notification that you are live, and that kind of just builds that real intimacy and things like that. And and makes a lot of sense. I mean, one of the strategy for, if we were going to do Facebook groups today, one of the things we're going to probably do is to try to get people to come in for free, which you're already doing, right? But when they come in for free, we would request them to invite additional people for an upgrade value or something like that. So for example, we could give them an extra discount if they're able to get like five of their friends to join the group, or they're able to get something just that way, just to increase like the number, have like some form of ripple effect.
Yeah.
I mean, we have an email list right now also of about a good number of people, right? And those numbers also, we can translate them, and so that's what I think. If we're gonna do it, that's the approach I think we're gonna use, and I think it's a good strategy for anybody that really wants to try it and all. And so, Facebook group, what's the conversions like?
Okay. Okay, so I think I have a problem there because I'm not really consistent with marketing on the group. Like, that's another thing that you learn when you have a group. If you want your engagement level to remain at a certain level, you can't just be always like, pushing people to buy. Promotions hold like once in a while, like maybe once a week or once in 2 weeks or once in a month. But the conversions are pretty good. Okay, I'm talking of average about 100 sales for any product that you put out. Yeah, that's what I've experienced on my group. So on any product that we actually put out on the group, you can expect an average of 100 in a week. Okay, and then talking about live events, like live videos, live audio programs, you can expect an average of, for a group of my size, we get an average of like 50 to 70 people watching the live. Like I said, the conversions, they actually vary. For example, for any promotion that you put out, you can expect to get at least an average of 100 people actually taking action at that point. So that's why Facebook groups are super powerful. The engagement actually makes a lot of sense if you take the time to actually invest in it and grow a group. Yes.
Interesting. So that means Facebook group is actually very powerful.
Yes.
Another powerful thing also is Facebook bots. And I mean, we could go on and on. There's so many things.
There's a lot
of things on Facebook. One of the things I tell people is that there's so many things in digital marketing. Digital marketing is like one of the most secure career that anybody can go for, because you can monetize any part of Facebook, right? We know a couple of our students that are just making money from just Facebook groups. We know people that are just making money from just Facebook bots. We have people that are making money from just like different aspects of each individual digital marketing, so specializing like you and things like that. It's such an amazing career to really go into, because digital marketing is wide, the opportunities are good, businesses are struggling here and there, and they need digital marketers to help them to grow their business, to establish themselves, and all those things like that. And lucky enough, that's part of what we do in Digital Marketing Skills Institute. We train people on it, and we train people to make money like Ken is doing, charging companies to just look at their dashboard and tell them that they're doing nonsense. So I mean, that's one of the good things about digital marketing in general. And the opportunities are just there a lot, and I'm sure you've not regretted entering the field digital marketing.
No, not at all.
And I mean, you're doing good for yourself, which is very good. And what they call it. So, anyways, digital marketing is marvelous. It's what we do in at Digital Marketing Skills Institute. And so, want to say thank you to Ken for coming on board. But before I let him run away, I would like him to give us. If anybody wants to contact you, for example, for Facebook advice or campaigns, how can they get across to you?
Okay, so I think the best place to actually reach me would be on my Facebook group. So I'm always active there. I always answer questions. We have classes and everything. So that would be the best place to actually reach me. The name of the group is Agency Blitz Community. So you can just search for it on Facebook, or go to www.facebook.com/groups/Agency Blitz. Agency Blitz is AGENCYBLITZ. Okay, so that's AGENCYBLITZ. So Once you just click to join the group, you just request access and you'll be granted access into the group. But if you still want to reach me outside the group, you can always reach me on email at ken@cashlessyouth.com. So that's ken@cashlessyouth.com. Yeah, so that's the best
It's
place to
actually a
reach me.
cashless youth.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much, Toby.
So it's very nice having you. Thank you for listening and watching this podcast. Make sure you subscribe. You also, after subscribing, make sure you click on the bell sign so that you get alerts whenever a new one comes up. And look forward to having you next time. And don't forget to be a blessing to someone's life. Make sure you share this because there's a lot of value that we've discussed today. So many tips that we've given.
Yep.
People pay Ken a lot of money to give some of what he's just said to you right now. So it's very, very important that you help somebody, you be a blessing to a business person you know, or to an individual that you know that doesn't know what he's going to be doing but needs it to be able to elevate himself one way or the other. And yeah, and surely you'll be rewarded for blessing other people. Until next time, I look forward to seeing you again. And don't forget to also visit our website, digitalmarketingskill.com. Enjoy the free 14 days digital marketing training. And also do not forget to always respond if you have any questions. I can always try to discuss it in one of the podcasts or invite people that are going to be able to, that are experts in that subject matter to kind of discuss it as well.